Good morning, beautiful people. How are you today? Today, the mist has descended on France, and the place is consumed in a silence, a mystery. It feels like some kind of mythic world, and there's not a soul in sight. Even the birds seem a little bit muted in all that they do, a little bit confused about why this world is veiled in white. And last night I was reading a book to my two beautiful daughters, and it occurred to me, as it often does when I read these amazing fairy tales, these beautiful stories written by these inspired authors, how every children's story is essentially a route to another world for the child, fueled by imagination and inspiration and beauty. But also, each book has an incredible spiritual message. Maybe it's veiled in secrecy, just like the mist on the planet today. Perhaps it doesn't speak directly as an epic journey of a hero or a heroine connecting with a godlike figure. But almost every single fairy tale and story does open a door to another world, whether it's Jack and the Beanstalk with a passage to heaven by climbing up the beanstalk, whether it's Cinderella dreaming of that other world at the ball, being consumed by the magic of the fairy godmother, whether it's Frozen, which is the one the children of this generation adore. And in this incredible film, only an act of true love can save the girl from being frozen. It's love always conquering over fear. And at the weekend I had the honour of watching Frozen 2, in which the main song is Into the Unknown, where the main character discovers that actually the person that saved herself and saved her whole world was her. She could hear a voice in the distance throughout the film, but never quite knew who was making the noise. And it's really made me realise that the message in this lifetime always comes through, no matter what we watch, whether it's a children's movie, a children's book, a fairy tale, whether it's music. Now, Barbara on the Sacred Paws clearly has the gift of music, as do many of the others, and her sons included. When you think about the most successful songs that have made it and topped the charts for more than any other time, Everything I Do It For You by Bryan Adams, I think that's the longest serving number one in the history of music. Let It Be by the Beatles, again, a very pivotal spiritual message there. And Whitney Houston, Everything I Do It For You. And I'm a true believer that wherever you go, whichever shop you walk in and hear music playing in the background, whichever program you turn on the television and some music is coincidentally playing, whichever radio station you turn on and hear a song, I truly believe that every single song you hear is meant for you to hear in that moment. Because this is your world. This is your world where you're here to remember that love will always conquer over fear. You're here to remember that courageous decisions will always be rewarded in the long term. It might not feel like that sometimes. It might feel that you're being punished. But if you can stay true to yourself, walk in that truth, you will be rewarded in this lifetime, no doubt, and beyond. If at some point you decide to not live in truth, to go back to that old lifestyle where you try and take the shortcuts, where you try and live life like everyone else because everyone else is, so why can't I? Well, the problem with that is that the only person that you're lying to is yourself. Life is one enormous mirror, and there's another version of you watching yourself in everything you do. And of course, you always have compassion for yourself, but no doubt that version of yourself that's watching over you saying, come on, you can do it, walk in truth, is only going to be disappointed when you let yourself down, when you start to take that shortcut, maybe tell those lies, stop living a life of truth, a non-spiritual life, because they can see the big picture. They can see that it's only going to lead to pain, and whatever you do will come back to you. Now, most people fall off the spiritual radar in moments of crisis, in moments of trauma, because these are our biggest challenges. It might be the death of someone we love, and we feel this is just unfair. Why did it happen to me? Why did it happen to them? Who's going to love me now? It might be when our heart is broken, or when we're hugely let down by someone we trust. And in moments like this, it can be very easy to fall out of love with love. The problem is, with our human eyes, we can't see the big picture. We can't see that perhaps further down the track, this person will not allow us to learn our lesson, or this person is not meant to be with someone who's on a spiritual path like yourself. It might be something that was predetermined before we even came on this planet. In fact, it probably was. That at this particular juncture in time, they will walk away from our lives. Now, it's not about the karma in that relationship. It's about the karma of your infinity, of your entire lifetime. And the only way we can see the big picture is taking that eagle perspective, is by looking through the eyes of the heart. I know I say it every time. And people still say, but you can't see with your heart. Your heart has no eyes. Well, actually, your heart has everything. You can listen with your heart. You can see with your heart. You can feel with your heart. You can be with your heart. And when I talk about looking through the heart, I'm not talking about actually physically being inside the organ, which is your heart. I'm talking about looking through the eyes of love. Because through those eyes, you can forgive anyone for anything. Because with those eyes, you can see that this person who perhaps has let you down or broken you, perhaps you even think they've destroyed your life, when in truth, they've instilled you with a gift, a precious memory, a treasure trove, a soul fragment, a piece to your jigsaw of eternity. And if you can find the place for this piece of this jigsaw to fit succinctly into your jigsaw of life, then suddenly it becomes more complete. This moment might be the defining moment of your life. It might be the whole reason you came to this planet. The one big lesson you had to learn. And the issue, if in that moment you decide not to accept it, but instead to rebel and to not continue walking that spiritual path, then in the big moments you often feel empty and you lose your way. But one of the big secrets is to feel the pain, to be willing to go there into your darkness. Not to try and understand with your head or with your serpent energy why this person has let you down, because if you do that, you start judging the person. You're coming often from a place of fear. But if you come from one of the highest chakras, if you come from a place of love, then suddenly you start having gratitude for what this person did to you, because you can see that it's allowed you to grow, that it's allowed you to take a much broader perspective as to why you're on this planet, why you're here in this incarnation. It might not happen straight away. It might take months. It might take years. But they talk about people having these alleluia moments. And there's another song which was very successful. These epiphanies. Moments when people are healed completely from an illness, just seemingly out of nowhere. And the reason for this is because they've finally seen the light. They've finally realized that life isn't here to kick them in the teeth or to beat them when they're down, to punish them. But in fact, it's here to give them one almighty spiritual hug, or a spiritual huggle as Mary might have called it. In our darkest hours, the Great Spirit walks beside us. And if we are willing to keep our eyes and our heart open, then miracles can happen almost every single day. And just like in the great fairy tales that we heard when we were children, just like the great fairy tales that I read each night to my little girls, dreams can come true, and there can be happy endings. Maybe even happy middle bits and happy beginnings. The key is for us not to expect life to be logical or to happen in a way that we believe it should. Expect the unexpected, because that's why we're on this earth. And doubtless there's many people on other planets, in other worlds, that look upon Earth as a great gift. It is the ultimate school, the toughest and most rigorous curriculum of all. But when you're in your heart and you're standing on this planet, and you stare at the sky, the miracle of the stars, the sweet nectar of life in that hummingbird energy from that third chakra. When you smell the flowers in summer or the fallen leaves in autumn, when you see that perfect, most beautiful view from the top of the mountain, when you hear the ocean lapping up against the shore, as the sun sets on the horizon, and the seagulls cry, and the dolphins dive between the waves, when the rain falls, and you put out your hands and you embrace it, when you walk in the freshly fallen snow and taste the snowflakes on your tongue, when you walk through the forests of autumn and see the browns, the yellows, the golds, the reds, when you see the robin in the winter with its red breast, when you feel the peace of meditation in your deepest, most silent moment, that is when you know why you're here on this planet. That is why being on Earth, on Pachamama, is living the dream. It might not be like a Hollywood movie, but there is something far more beautiful than Hollywood deep in your heart, and all you've got to do is remember that it's there. Sending you a huge amount of love from the mists and mystique of France. I love you all. Thank you so much for being part of the Sacred Pause. Love and peace. Peter. Namaste. Thank you.